if anyone's still spending time on this, you clearly are f***ing bored. Find something better to do.
Yeah, it's definitely the pursuit of losers, but the problem is those losers can actually affect businesses.
Losers? Really? That's such a bad take. All right, so we got a few topics for this video that we're going to go through. First, we're going to show Sean Strickland fire back at Joe Rogan. We're going to show Sean Strickland fire back at the Navy SEAL. And then we're going to show Joe Rogan and Kid Rock talk about the Bud Light thing because I can't believe that I hadn't done it. That happened while I was at a resort with Gabrielle. I would have covered it normally. But I'm going to go through those 3 stories on this video. We're going to talk about all of them. And if we have time, I will show you a bonus video for those of you guys who want to hang around. I just did a very long members only video about the Google Gemini thing that will go live probably in about 2 hours. But I appreciate you guys very much. Hopefully this is an enjoyable video for everybody. I love you guys. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And let's just jump right into it. Look at that. A 45-second intro. Let's rock. So I record these segments separately. I don't know what order I'm going to put them in, but I think I want to put this one first just because this is actually a really interesting topic. Okay, so this is back and forth between Sean Strickland and the Navy SEAL, and this is chapter 3, okay? So Sean Strickland makes a comment about how Navy SEALs couldn't hang with his training, that they would break. He says they would break under his training. Navy SEAL responds, and I just want to do, as if I was doing a TikTok about this, just talk about where I think they got this right and wrong. Okay, there's no reason for those two guys to be going head-to-head on manhood, all right? Bottom line, if there is a topic that is ridiculous for any two people to be going back and forth on, it is the middleweight champion of the world and a Navy SEAL about which one of them is more of a man. It's like, dude, you guys are both as man as it gets. Okay, like you don't need to do this, right? Sean Strickland, middleweight champion of the world. I'm sorry, Drickus, I think he won the fight. And then Navy SEAL. What's more man than Navy SEAL? It's like, it's so dumb, dude. And just to reiterate the points that I made in my original video about it, it's like Sean Strickland saying that he's going to break guys from training. That's not going to happen, dude. You are not capable of creating an environment that is tougher to get through than Hell Week and Buds. You're not, dude. I'm sorry. That's just not reality. And at the same time, these Buds guys, be it all, Sean would break and ring the bell. No, he wouldn't, dude. Okay, I don't know if he can swim, I don't know, whatever, but there's no scenario where Sean is going to go walk and ring the bell. 10% of guys get through. You really think Sean would quit? He's not going to quit, dude. And then also, you have the thing about, well, we for real take lives. It's like, you think Sean would not shoot an enemy combatant? You know what I mean? Like, also, dumb. How about you guys just both go, hey, as a Navy SEAL, I'm incredibly impressed by your accomplishments in mixed martial arts. And Strickland's like, and I'm very impressed that you are the pinnacle of our military fighting force and you went through Buds and I have nothing but respect. It's like, what are you guys arguing about, dude? But that said, I think the good point that was made originally by the Navy SEAL was just like, why are you comparing yourself to us? Like, we're over here dying, dying defending freedom. So anyway, right? I thought when the Navy SEAL said that Sean was kind of painted into a corner. It's like, what's he going to respond to with that? Like, he's not going to question their sacrifice or their commitment to the country or whatever. Like, that's Sean's brand. He's not going to do that. But I was wrong. So he came back at the Navy SEAL. We're going to watch what he said, and I am going to comment on that now. Let's rock and roll.
Sean Strickland responds after being called out by a Navy SEAL. Earlier this week, Strickland took to social media commenting on the training endured by SEALs and expressing his belief that it wouldn't measure up to his everyday MMA regimen.
I don't think there's one fucking...
I guess I have to reiterate. I don't think it's possible that if he really thought about it, that he thinks that he is self-creating the environment that Navy SEALs go through in Hell Week. Like, there's no way. Just by yourself at Extreme Couture, you really think that you're recreating Hell Week in your gym? Like, come on, dude. That is just objectively absurd. Let's continue.
Navy SEAL who could survive a week training with me. I'm kind of sick of seeing it because, like, you guys think you're badass. Come train with me for a week. I'll show you what's up. I'll fucking break you.
It didn't take long for...
Okay, I will say that, like, Sean would fit in very well in that community, though, because this is a competitive bunch, man. I'm just going to skip what the Navy SEAL said because I'm sure you guys have seen it. Now I want to see Sean's response. Okay, here we go. He says, I made a Navy SEAL upset. Oh, I will tell you this. Navy SEALs hate if you do not capitalize SEAL. Hate it. They hate it. If you're friends with one of them and you send SEAL like that, if they're like, they're a little stiff about it. Like they will tell you every time. They're like, we're not SEALs, dude. It's like, I don't know, whatever. I don't know if he cares, but that's a bugaboo for them. Any of them will confirm that for you. He said, we protect your freedom. I'm very pro-military, but anti-government. But to say I protect your freedom, y'all need a history lesson on the federal government. Google Snowden and the Constitution. The sand people aren't taking away my freedoms. Can't argue with that, dude. Cannot argue with that. However, do you think that the Navy SEALs who enlist and then are overseas are doing that to help enforce a censorship regime, like domestically? Do you think there are like a lot of Navy SEALs that are like super down with the censorship regime over here? Because they're not. Every one of them is on the other side of that, as far as I know. And, I don't know. I mean, look, like I just exclude the Navy SEAL thing from this conversation. Of course, I agree with Sean on this. Of course, I agree with Sean. Obviously, if you know my content, obviously I'm with Sean on, the government taking away our freedoms and it being highly concerning. But I do think we're winning the culture war, dude. I think we're winning the culture war, and I think we're going to win the censorship war. I think we're going to win everything. Hopefully, fingers crossed. When I say win everything, though, I have to exclude. Oh man, I think I'm really not allowed to say this. I'm concerned about the validity of the process by which we pick presidents. I would say I'm not convinced that is going to be up to par, legit. Shut down the counting. Wait, your guy's winning. Shut it all down, man. Yeah, for some reason we can't count them tonight. But we'll get back into it tomorrow. Oh my gosh. While you guys were all sleeping, there's been a huge flip-flop. Now the other guy's winning. Oh, good. Okay. I'm sure they won't do that again. Anyway, so yeah, actually, I don't really have a lot to add to this other than to say, oh, wait, I guess there's more to it. This guy said the U.S. military's purpose has nothing to do with protecting our freedom. If it did, it would only be fighting on U.S. soil. And Sean says facts. Okay, so here's the thing. This is what I'm going to add to this, okay? So I watched a clip of Rogan yesterday talking to Brett Weinstein, and this clip was scary beyond belief. And I'm going to derail this conversation now. So Brett Weinstein had gone down to Panama. Okay. And this was all about the migration crisis. Okay. And he was looking at these enormous, like, swarm of people who are going, across the Panama thing, whatever the name of that thing, whatever. There's like all these people starting way down in Central America and then coming up and then ending up, crossing our border illegally. And he was saying that they are being separated into two different groups, right? You have like the Central and South Americans that are over here. And then you have this totally separate thing over here that are all Chinese military-aged men, and they do everything totally separate. The migrants on the side of the Latin Americans are willing to speak generally about why they're going up there, usually for economic opportunity and so on and so forth. And the Chinese won't talk about it. And you got to ask yourself this, dude. This is the biggest question about, and this is why I say military absolutely might need to protect our freedom potentially, if you think about what this might mean. You guys know how restrictive China is related to all of the things they do, or at least we think we know, right? How are that many military-aged Chinese people getting out of China and then doing this all organized? How is that happening if they are not allowing it to happen or actually organizing it to happen? And what does it actually mean? Why? Is it just after economic freedom? You're telling me that, because if I understand the way that Chinese society works, right? The way that they have gained their economic power is through the ability to provide cheap labor. Okay, who's better at providing cheap labor than military-aged men, right? Why would you not want those guys in the Chinese military or providing labor in some other way? Why would they allow, this enormous, he said that they don't know what the numbers are, so I don't actually want to make any statements specifically to the numbers, but they're enormous. Tens of thousands on the minimum and potentially up to like 1 million people or whatever. Like, I have no idea what it is, but like a lot of these guys. Why would they allow that? How are they getting over here? How would that amount of people be getting over here if it's not organized? So do you think it's impossible that all of a sudden there's some like destabilization and then boop, and all of a sudden there are, these huge bands of Chinese soldiers that are taking over government buildings and broadcasting and all that? You think that's impossible? I don't think that's impossible at all. And if we think that our freedom is under assault now, try to imagine that scenario. And now let's talk about Strickland and Rogan getting into it next.
Sparring the streamer Sneeko. Joe thought it was a bad look for Sean to go so hard on somebody who's untrained. Today, Sean responded with a video message to Joe on Instagram. In the caption, he wrote, "I didn't pick a fight, he wanted it." They don't get it. Everyone liked the video. These people spend more money than you make in a year on doctors and injections, just trying to live forever. They're so out of touch. It bothers them that I interact with you guys in the world. You hear these people talk about trying to live forever, and you start thinking maybe lizard people are real. I could go on forever why they don't understand and never will.
If I know that I can you up and I you up, I'm probably a bad person. It's never good that a guy who is some trained killer goes after some regular guy, picks a fight with him and him up. It's never thought of as good. It's always negative, like almost entirely negative. Like the entire fan base will recognize that terrible behavior.
It bothers them because they want to be special. They want me to be special. You go look at sporting events, you go look when they eat dinner, they are treated like they are special. But that is designed that way. And they want you guys to know that you're not special. They want you guys to know that when you're sitting in that...
Just for the record, I have not seen this. Okay? Just for the record, I have not seen this. I swear to you, this is the first time I'm seeing this. I saw the Rogan thing, but I have not seen this response.
That nosebleed seat, you're not special. Even though you are the mother that finances sport, they want you guys to know that you suck. When I go and wrestle a guy on the ski slopes...
For the record, by the way, the people who fight, most of them can't even afford a nosebleed seat. Let me say that, right? Just to add on, I'm not signing off on everything he's saying right there, but I will say that tickets to live events are astronomically expensive now. And I don't even think it's nosebleeds versus like front row. It's like, can you even go to the event now? But anyway, let's continue.
That is awesome, man. I love the fact that you woke up, you went snowboarding, you see me, said, I want to fight this man. I love it. I respect it. I respect Sneeko for getting his kicked. So we got his kicked. We all get our kicked. I get my kicked every day in life, in training, in fights, by the government. We all get our kicked. Make no mistake, you guys. What bothers them the most is I tell them they're not special. When I tell them they're just a bunch of behind a camera. These people.
Okay, so I'm telling you right now, I had not seen that. So I'm not even sure, was Strickland responding to Rogan with that video? I don't even know if that was a response, like that, because that didn't, like I see the caption. And let me just actually read that for you guys, just in case you can't read it. It says, I didn't pick a fight. He wanted it. They don't get it. Everyone liked the video. These people spend their money and make you doctors injections, yada, yada. Okay, so it is the same thing. Yeah, no. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know if that's a response to Rogan, because I'm actually not convinced he's even responding to Rogan, because he definitely didn't say Joe Rogan. And what he said does not, respond to what Rogan said at all. Not to mention, I didn't even hear Rogan say Strickland's name in his thing. I will say this, right? Rogan's take that beating up somebody that you know you can beat up is a bad look, and I 100% agree with that. That said, if someone rolls up on Sean or anyone else and they're all, let's do this, man, let's get it on, like the guy on the ski slopes. If you watch my video where I covered that, I didn't say anything negative about Sean whatsoever. That guy wanted it, dude. And that guy was fighting hard. The dude in the snow was fighting hard. That guy's, the best possible outcome for the guy on the snow was him to win that exchange. He was fighting as hard as he could. You know what I mean? So Sean gets, that's fine. I have no issue whatsoever with Sean choking that guy, because that's the thing that guy signed up for. The reason why the thing with Sneeko was different is because Sneeko went into this under false pretenses. Now, not false pretenses, but under an understanding that he did not understand, right? Like he did not sign up to spar Sean Strickland thinking Strickland was going to try to knock him out. You're not going to convince me that that's true, because Jake Shields and the guys who were there verified that was not the case, and that they were like, dude, you should not do this. And Sneako's like, look, man, I already agreed. Now, at the exact same time, when I first had my take on this, where I was like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, I don't like the look of it, especially because Sean kept going after they threw in the towel 3 times. You know, like there was 3 towels thrown in and Sean just kept trying to knock him out. It took Forrest running in there to break it up. I mean, I'll absolutely stand by that. Like, I just, like I've been saying, like, why? Exactly what Rogan said. It's like, why? There's no scenario where you're going to lose that fight. So, like, why do you have to try to hurt the guy? That said, as soon as Sneako continues to do this shtick, well, now that changes the landscape, because he's asking for it. Because if somebody's like, look, man, I want to take a shopping cart and I want to drive it off of a cliff and then see if I could survive tumbling down the mountain. It's like, that sounds dumb. I don't know why you want to do that, but that's your prerogative. Go ahead. Wear a helmet, dude. Wear a helmet. And at the same time, it's like when I watch just a clip of someone getting beat up by a professional in a sparring match, my, of course, initial reaction is like, dude, why is he beating that guy up like that? And then my feelings become immediately invalidated the second that the guy not only lets the guy off the hook like a battered wife, you know, I asked for it. But then he's like, all right, well, where else can I recreate this? Hey, Merab, what are you doing? Hey, Nate Diaz, what are you doing? I mean, Nate Diaz obviously was training nice with him. But the Merab thing was very clearly intended to recreate the Sean Strickland viral video where he got beat up. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, there's no reason for me, Rogan, or anyone else to be concerned about this. That said, again, I don't think Rogan, I think the point Rogan is making was a valid one, right? Bottom line, it's like, if you know you can beat the shit out of a guy, you don't need to beat the shit out of the guy. Do you know what I mean? Like that's exactly what I was saying before, like when this first happened. Is like, if someone asks for it, dude, I tell the story all the time, dude. Like, I mean, this is a long time ago, but I had a guy throw a drink in my face, you know, when I was 22 years old, the prime of I will roll you for something like that. This guy threw a drink in my face. He was standing right next to me, and I looked at him, and he was literally this. Well, there's also a mitigating factor. But I looked at him. He was my best friend, knew him, and was like, don't do it, because he knew, you know. He knew. This actually, you know what? Honestly, now that I think about it, this story actually doesn't necessarily apply, because I bitch slapped this guy, you know, open-handed, whap. And I always tell that story as like I deem this guy an unworthy adversary, and that's why I slapped him. But I do kind of in my mind minimize the fact that Jason kind of like jumped in between us, was like, don't do it, which probably factored in a lot, you know, where I was like, oh, I can't let that slide. You know, this guy's also really small. And then I slapped him. But like, I don't know. I don't know if I would have beat the shit out of that kid otherwise. I might have. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So it's an irrelevant story. Fucking irrelevant story. But that guy threw a drink in my face, dude. He wasn't just like, hey, man, you think you can show me some things sparring? You know? Anyway, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Navy SEAL back and forth, because Sean went back at the Navy SEAL, and I think that gives us a much more fertile ground to talk about some much bigger issues. Never mind. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan and the Kid Rock Bud Light thing. Let's watch this, and then we're going to comment on it, because they made some statements that I did not agree with, actually. I did not agree with them on this stuff. On some of it. I agree with them on some of it, and I disagree on others. So let's rock.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
So what's it like being the dude who took out Bud Light?
Let's get right to it.
Let's get right to it. We were going to bring a few cases in here for you. Switch sunglasses.
Fuck, I'll drink it. I don't give a shit. 2 kinds of beer in this world, cold and free. I like them both.
We'll bring
Man,
some.
I was just having fun, to be honest with you. I mean, I
was funny.
I was pissed, like, you know, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like it was going to wreck my day, let alone my life. I was just kind of like, what the fuck are they doing?
But
Like,
you
this is
were the
too
straw
far.
that broke the camel's back.
I became the face of it, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not the Pied Piper to sit around and think like people follow what Kid Rock does.
I agree with that, for the record. I do not agree at all that Kid Rock is why this boycott happened at all. This was going to happen. Like, this was going to happen when they did the and I could look at my worldview, generally speaking, is that there's a lot of people in the world that feel exactly like me, like a lot, like all of you most likely, with maybe 2% exception. When I saw the Mulvaney thing, I was like, that's it. That's it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. When Kid Rock did his thing, that was just something I expected would happen, things like that. But there's no way that anyone's going to convince me that the reason this happened is because Kid Rock did that post. That's just, I don't agree. He's just one of us.
I just became the face of it.
Yeah, but they kind of do. They kind of do. Listen, man, when you got so upset that you were fucking machine gunning.
Throwing a tantrum with a machine gun.
You machine gun cases of Bud Light.
They want to let guys play girls' sports.
That was the end. That was really it. If there's one moment that they look back on and fucking go, shit, it's that
I've
moment.
talked to him about it.
I know you have.
Yeah, you were there at the UFC fight.
Yeah, and I met that dude, the CEO.
Brendan.
He's a good guy, man.
We've become friends.
He's a good guy.
He's a
really
great
good
guy. After 5 minutes of talking to him, I'm with Trump there in Dana's green room. I go to Trump, I go, see that dude behind me? I go, that's the CEO of Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch. And Trump's like, you want to go talk to him? Which in my mind, Trump said, you want to go fuck with him? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So we go over there, we're talking to him. We actually had a great conversation. And at some point, he was telling me how he got the video. And he was actually down in Texas doing some hunting. And I'm like, we talk and talk, and I'm not going to share all our conversation. That'd probably be inappropriate. But I'm like, dude, you seem like somebody I'd fucking be friends with, that I'd hang out with. He's like, you would. That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, well, come to Nashville. Come visit me. He fucking did.
That's awesome.
Came with his top team. Fucking, we broke bread. Got fucked up on Bud Light. We fucking bowled. Did all this fun shit. And we had a good meeting beforehand, trying to think if there's something I could do with Anheuser-Busch.
And I'm doing it right now. I am literally doing the thing that we talked about me doing right this second. I am on the Joe Rogan podcast with Joe Rogan, where all of us are getting paid to dispel the boycott. I am doing the thing that we talked about. But let's continue, because I do agree with a lot of the stuff that they say coming up.
I just didn't feel comfortable with it. You know, I threw out some ideas that scared the living fuck out of them.
Here's the deal. There's one way that they could reverse all of the damage, that Bud Light could literally reverse all of the damage done by this whole thing, and there's not a second option. There's one. And that is to put out marketing campaign material that is making fun of trans people. I'm sorry, I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying if Bud Light wants to completely reverse this, they need to make fun of the people who drove the agenda that led to them doing it in the first place. They need to make them the butt of a joke. They don't need to be nasty about it. They just need to make it funny, or they need to make fun of themselves about it. Okay. So in reality, because they're not going to do the first one, there actually is the second option. Okay. So the one realistic option that Bud Light could do to reverse all of the damage that was done by the Mulvaney thing is they need to make marketing, campaign material, advertising, videos, whatever, making fun of themselves for this. They need to make fun of themselves, make it hilarious, like collect all of the memes that were clowning on Bud Light and saying that they're the rainbow thing or that they turn people trans, all of that. They need to collect it and then have the CEO laughing at it. Okay. Or, like I said, if they want to be really funny, make fun of Dylan Mulvaney. Make fun of Dylan Mulvaney a little bit, make him the butt of a joke, and or make Dylan the butt of a joke. Jeez. You know what I mean? That's the way you do it. You have to make light of the situation. You need to show that you understand why, and then turn it into something that people laugh at. If people laugh, they will come back. Let's continue. But
at the end of the day, I was like, guys, I don't feel right taking your money. I was like, I go, we can continue the conversation, see where it ends up. But honestly, I don't want any corporate deals. I don't feel right. There's not a penny on earth that could make me change who I am or have people look at me in a different way.
Right.
Even though it's probably half the country at this point that likes me and the other half wants to put a bullet in me. I understand that. There's no he's okay.
Right.
I've destroyed that. There's no, Kid Rock's okay. It's either I fucking hate that kid
or I love that dude.
Yeah, I'll take a bullet for him.
Yeah.
But, we still talk. And
that's a better place to be, honestly.
Yeah, and like I said, you know what I mean? They fucked up. And when you get to the grassroots of it, that's what they did. And there's so many people that work for that company, and all the stuff they've done. We don't have to be a broken record here.
It's a great company.
Right. And
they've done amazing things. Anheuser-Busch is an amazing charitable company that they do a lot of great things.
Yeah, and I dug into that, and I was educated on it. Even before Dana called me about his deal and things like that, people discussed with me. I did a little digging and talked to people. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, they got the message. Like, I'm not someone who holds a fucking grudge his whole life. You know what I mean? And honest to God, I was having a lot of fucking fun. I don't get to pull my machine gun out and film myself doing cool shit too often. I'm just not that type of person. But I was like, this warrants it right here. Get all the Bud Light on property. That was actually all the beer I had on property. I kept a lot of that shit around, more than I thought.
We stopped selling.
I could testify to that. I've been at Kid Rock's house. A lot of Bud Light on property. I was there 3 years ago, way before any of the Bud Light stuff. But that is all that was there. That's all we drank, Bud Light.
Selling at the mothership because nobody's buying it. It got that bad.
What's going on there?
It's nuts. It's stupid. I think it's stupid, and Shane Gillis brought it back a lot.
I love Shane. Shane's a buddy.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He brought it back a lot, because he never stopped drinking it. And, it's slowly making its way back, and I think the UFC helps a lot too. But they took a big hit.
One of the things I told them was, I go from the outside looking in, guys, as a friend, somebody who doesn't want to see this brand hurt and destroyed anymore. Like, you got smacked on the ass.
Yeah.
And a pretty hard spanking. I was like, but I don't want to hold your head underwater and drown this fucking company, put people out of work and that shit. It's like, you got the message, and it's clear. I wish people knew these guys running the company, because they're great
exactly how I feel.
Fucking guys. But I said, there's just a percentage of these fucking trolls on the left and on the right. They're like, I'm so empowered by the internet. Yeah. I'm going to piss and bitch and moan and, I have a voice. It's like, go fuck yourself. All right, cut it out. Like, if anyone's still spending time on this, you clearly are fucking bored. Find something better to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a pursuit of losers. But the problem is those losers.
Nope. That's not what this is. That's where we disagree. So I am on the side of there's no reason to still be boycotting Bud Light, but to call people who are still boycotting losers is not only incorrect, it completely misses the point of why they're doing it. If you really think that the majority of people are doing it because they're just like loser trolls, that's not true. First of all, it's not true, and it should insult them. Like, anybody who's still holding out with Bud Light, that should piss you off. I mean, I'm sure that it does, but it should piss you off because, again, it not only obviously is calling you a loser, but it misses the entire point. The reason that people are still holding out is because that for real was the last straw for them. The Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light thing, that was it. Like, that was the same way that it was for me now. And like I said, dude, I'm on the side of let's let their head back up from underwater. I don't see any reason to continue to drown them. They've spent so much money demonstrating. They're like, dude, we are with you guys. We made one mistake. We fired all the people that were involved, and we did all, now we're doing the UFC. We let Strickland say whatever they want. We're, with Kid Rock and Joe Rogan. Like, they're doing everything they can. But to call people losers who are holding out, again, it demonstrates a complete misunderstanding of why they're doing it. They had enough. It was one too many advertisements. It was one too many things right down their throat on the trans agenda. And they were like, that's it, dude. Not one more. I won't have it. And this gives them the ability to be empowered to show how fed up they are. And they're like, I'll never drink another Bud Light for the rest of my life. I will never buy one under any circumstances. I don't agree that it is necessarily the right way forward, because I think we should be empowering companies that come to our side. Like, let me finish my point. A person having enough resolve to swear off a brand forever. And these obviously are people who drank Bud Light, or else Bud Light sales would not still be tanked. Okay? Bottom line, dude, if this was not people who were Bud Light drinkers, then Bud Light would not still be suffering with sales. Okay? So to call them losers is not correct. They have resolve to stick by their word that they said they would never buy another Bud Light. Again, I will give you the reason that I don't think that they're correct in doing that, but that's what they are. Calling them a loser is wrong, and it's not true. Okay, so like with Gillette, perfect example for me. When Gillette did the toxic masculinity thing, I was like, I will never buy another Gillette for the rest of my life. If I'm at a hotel and I forgot my razor, right? I forgot my razor, and I'm there specifically to spend the next 12 hours banging Gabrielle. And she's like, dude, you need to shave your face. I don't want your rough face all over my face. I went downstairs, and the only option was a Gillette razor, I'd be like, look, sweetheart, I guess we're going to be doing it a little bit impersonal today because I'm not buying a Gillette. I don't care. It costs 80 cents. Fuck Gillette. Okay? It's like that. I will never buy a Gillette product ever. I might crack under that scenario. But nonetheless, I've never bought a Gillette product ever since that toxic masculinity thing because they haven't demonstrated any kind of apology, nothing. Like that toxic masculinity thing was the final straw with me for them. Done. Never again. Bud Light has done the exact opposite of what Gillette did. Like they made one mistake and then they went full throttle the opposite direction. That's all they've done as far as I'm concerned. And I genuinely believe that the correct way to win the culture war is to reward companies when they go the other way. You punish them when they go that way, and then you reward them when they go the other way. Bud Light did bad. We chopped off their hand. They just happen to be the brand that could not do anything like this without enraging their customers. They did it. We chopped their fucking hand off. But then when they go, oh my God, our bad, we fire everyone. They go the complete other direction. For everyone to still be holding their head underwater, like you said, I don't agree with that assessment. We want to reward companies that go our way so that other companies go our way and we continue to perpetuate the principles we believe in. That's why I think that. But again, to say that they're just losers is stupid and inaccurate, in my opinion. Anyway, that's my take on this whole thing. I'm gonna cut this off at this point. I love you guys. Subscribe. Listen, like if you're holding out on Bud Light, I respect that. If you're back on board, I respect that. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You guys are definitely not losers either way. I love you guys. Let's rock and roll. Bye bye.